Hello everyone, thank you for joining us this afternoon for Ticket's virtual session on using Microsoft Teams, presented by Julie McCarthy, Lead Consultant at Ticket, along with Danielle John Charles. Thank you. Hi there, sorry, we're just having some technical issues with the sound. Just give us 1 minute and we will be ready to start. Thank you for your patience.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Julie McCarthy. I hope you can all hear me okay. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. I am a lead consultant at Ticket Limited, and I'm currently working from home and using Teams to stay connected with my work colleagues. Keeping your team connected whilst they are working from home is as important for their morale as it is for your business. So even like lots of organisations, Microsoft Teams has just been a tile on your desktop or a button on the toolbar in Outlook that is largely ignored. Now is the time to start using it. Teams is a chat-based collaboration tool that provides the ability to work together and share information via a common space. And its features include document collaboration, team chats, and one-to-one chats. During this webinar session, I'm going to show you how to set a team up in Microsoft Teams. We'll have a look to see how we can schedule a meeting. We'll have a look at joining a meeting and some of the tools available during a meeting, how to record a meeting and share, and also how to add contacts and start a chat. Hopefully, this session will benefit people who are new to Teams and have hardly used it or not used it at all. And it should last around 30 minutes. And at the end of the session, we'll open it up and we'll have some questions, should you have any, from what we're going to cover. So I'm going to take you into the Teams home screen. Okay, so when you open Teams up, you have a navigation panel down the left-hand side. Various different parts of Teams that you can go into. You have activities, which will give you some notifications of recent activities that you've been doing within Teams. You have private chats. There is a calendar where you can create and have online meetings. You can do an audio call, a video call from here. You can look at files that you've been given access to via Teams as well. We're going to start with Teams because, as the name suggests, this is the main section of this program. So when you click on Teams over in the navigation panel, you will see that you'll get a list of teams that you may have created or that you may have joined or have been allocated as a member to. And from here, you can start to have your online conversations, you can start to have your meetings, you can start to collaborate with files. Now, I work as part of the training team for Ticket, and I want to create a team for my department. So the reason that we have teams is because you might be working together on a project, or you might be working with people within your department, or maybe you're going to set up something social and you want to set a team up and have a group of members who can join that team so that you can collaborate with them. Each team can be split up into several channels. Now, channels is where we hold our meetings, that we have our conversations and we work on files together. And you can have channels that all the members of the team can access, but you can also have channels that only selected users can access. So the thing you need to be aware of is when you first set a team up, everybody in one channel that's created universal, which is called the general channel, everyone in that team can view everything that's going on. So everyone in that team would be able to see all the conversations that are taking place. They'd be able to set meetings up in there. They'd be able to see any shared files. But sometimes you might want to branch out within that team, and there might be certain areas that you don't want everybody to access. And that's why we set the channels up, and that's why we only give selected users access. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set a team up for my training team department. And then I'm going to create some channels within that, so that there's going to be a channel that we can all access and we can have a discussion around, but there's going to be some channels that only some of us can access. So when you click on Teams over in the navigation panel, down the bottom, you have the option to join or create a team. And when you click on here, if you was going to join a team and somebody had given you a unique code, you could enter that in. If you want to create a team from here, which I'm going to do, we click on the Create Team button. So when we create a team, I have two choices. I can either build a team up from scratch, or I can create a team from an existing team that's already in place, or an Office 365 group if I have one. I'm going to create one from scratch where I can name and I can allocate the members from within my organisation. So I'm going to click on Create a Team from Scratch. And I have a choice of making it a private team where only a few of us will be able to access it, or I can make it public and I can open it up to the whole of my organisation. So again, because I just want it for my training team, I'm going to make this private. So I'm going to give the team a name. I'm going to call this one Training, and I can give it a brief description so that the people that I'm going to make members of this team will get an idea of what type of things we might want to discuss. So I'm just going to call this, give it a description of the Ticket Training team. When I click on Create, in a moment, I'll get a little screen coming up saying, oh, well done, nice work, you've set a team up. What I now need to do, though, is go and add my members. Now, it depends how your IT department has set Microsoft Teams up for you, whether or not they've given you access to be able to add external users to your team. The way that we're set up in Ticket is we can only add team members that are internal. If you were set up to be able to add external users, you would be able to type in an external email address in here and you would be able to add them. But I can only type in internal addresses, and it goes to Active Directory and it will pull through any recipient lists that I have in there, distribution list, individual users. So I'm going to go and find one of my training colleagues, who is Danielle. So I start to type her name and it looks through our address book for us, and I'm going to pick Danielle up and I'm going to add her as part of my team. I'm also going to add another one of our training team, Iris. I'm going to add her. So this is my team. I've just got myself and these two members. I've added them. I'm going to close that down now, and my training team is now created for me. So when I click on Teams and I look at what access I have, I can now see training, and I have at the moment, as I will always have when I create a new team, a general channel. And the general channel, as a group now, as a team, will allow us to have conversations, online meetings, share files, and we all have access to this general channel. Now, we can add other channels that we can all have access to, so we can branch out amongst the training team, and we can also set channels up so that only some members of the training team can have discussions and share files about particular training topics. So the first thing I'm going to do is add some extra channels. One for Microsoft, where I want all the members of the training team to be able to access, but I'm also going to create another two. One for Carpe Diem, and I only want Iris and me to be able to talk about that because we only train on that. And then I want another one on Net Documents that I just want me and Danielle to be able to discuss and have conversations around because we only train on that. So in order to set up new channels, where I can see the name of my team here, training, I have 3 dots by the side of it. And when I click on the dots, it comes up with various things that I could do. I could edit the team. I could add more members from here if I wanted to. But I have the choice to add a channel. So I'm going to add a channel, and I'm going to call this one Microsoft. And I want to make sure that all the members of this team are going to have access to it. So I'm going to keep the privacy to standard. I'm going to tick this, automatically show this channel in everyone's channel list so that my other 2 members of the team, Danielle and Iris, will also see this channel now appearing under the training team that I have set up. So I'm going to add this now. And I should now have, under training, 2 channels. General is the default automatic one that always gets created when you set a team up. And I've now set up Microsoft, one that we can specifically go into to discuss our Microsoft programs that we train on. I'm going to add another one, and I'm going to add this for Carpe Diem, and I'm going to make it accessible only to myself and Iris. So I'm going to add a channel. I shall call this one Carpe Diem. Here, I don't want to make this accessible to everyone. I want it to be private and only make it accessible to a selection of people. So I now have a next step, and I'm going to type Iris's name in and add her. So this channel is now just between me and her. And I get a little padlock symbol by the side of it to indicate that it's not open to everybody in the training team. I'm going to do that once more. I'm going to create one more channel, and I'm going to call that Net Documents. And again, I'm going to make this not a standard privacy, but private. And next, I'm going to open this up to just me and Danielle. So I'm going to go and search for Danielle. And I'm going to add her. And again, I should get now a padlock because this now isn't opened up to everybody. It's only opened up to some of the users, some of the members of the training team. So I want to have a discussion with all my training team around Microsoft. So I'm going to click now on the Microsoft channel. Now, automatically on the right-hand side of the screen, I now have a conversation. So I can start to type in a conversation, and it's going to open it up to everyone who's part of the Microsoft channel. So I'm going to just click in here for the moment. I'm just going to type in hello. And whenever you press enter in a conversation, enter will automatically now post this conversation, this chat that you have just typed in. So I'm going to enter this, and it's now posted that into this channel. Now, at this point, because the channel is opened up to more than one person, I actually don't know at this stage who has read it, who has seen it. I have really no idea. I just know that I've typed in hello, and hopefully at some point I will get a response from somebody who has got access to the Microsoft channel. If they respond to this, They should respond using reply. We have to try and keep our conversations in context rather than them actually just type in here and start a whole new conversation. If you are going to, have a conversation around one particular topic that someone has put on here, then always make sure that you do use reply in order to reply to that. Now, when you are on a channel and you know that there's more than one person who has access to it, what you can do so that an individual actually receives a notification so that they know that you have mentioned them in this chat is, and it actually tells you down here, is you can @mention them. So I've typed in hello, and at the moment I don't know if any of the people who have access to my training team have actually seen this, because they wouldn't have received a notification. What they would see in the Teams icon down the bottom is they get a number 1 in red to indicate that there's something there for them to look at, but they don't actually get a notification. So in order for them to get a notification, I can @mention them in the chat. So I'm going to @mention Danielle, and I'm just going to put an @ in. It comes up with the team members. I started to type in Danielle, it finds her name, and I can click on there. And I can say, put a subject in, put a chat in. So I'm going to say, how did the Excel training go last week? Now, when I enter that, because I have @mentioned Danielle, she will now get on her screen, as long as she's got Microsoft Teams open. It could still be minimized in the background, but as long as she's got it open, she's going to get a little notification box coming up now with my message in saying, how did the Excel training go last week? So it's directly mentioned her, so she should be able to get this pop up and she should be able to reply to me. Now, she has replied, and again, because she's replied directly to me, I can now see a little pop-up that's popped up on my screen down the bottom right-hand corner. So it's always really good when you're working on a channel and you know you've got a group of users who have access to that channel to use the @mention so that you can get these pop-up boxes appearing on people's screens so that they're aware they have been mentioned. Now, when you are having a conversation in a channel, there's various different options that you have available down the bottom when you are having these chats and conversations. Now, first of all, I did mention at the very beginning that when you are chatting, having a conversation in Teams, when you press enter, it's the same as posting. So sometimes you might accidentally press enter, post halfway through a conversation, and all you meant to do when you pressed enter was add a new line. And it's very hard to just add a new line because you will get it posted. So, it could be that I've started to type in a conversation and I want to maybe look at revising our course outlines for some of our training courses. So I might start the conversation off and I might say something like, I thought it might be a good idea to revise course outlines for, and then I want to list what courses I want to change. Now, I've forgotten that if I press enter, I'm going to post it. So if I enter, I've posted half of the conversation. If I then start finishing the rest of it off, it's going to get a little bit segregated. I've got half of a message in one chat, another half in another. So if you know that you want to type in quite a long conversation, what you can do is use this first button here. It's called the format button. And when you click on there, it opens up a much larger conversation for you to fill in. So this time, you're not restricted to just one line. You're not restricted to pressing enter and it posts it. You can add a subject, you can type your conversation, you can still mention people in here. You have a series of buttons where you can format parts of your message. When you're ready to post, we use the little post send button down here. So I could now give this a subject of course outlines. And now I could type in my full conversation. Let's just say, should we revise I can press enter and I can type in separate lines. Okay, I do have the option to format part of this, so I could highlight these three here, I could put them in bold, I could click on here, turn them into a list if I wanted to. So I've got much more functionality when I'm working in my conversation to type the conversation up using the format button. And then when I'm ready to post it, I use this post send button here, and it will pop it in as a message for me, but a much longer message conversation than I had previously. Now, also, when you're typing up your conversations, you have the choice here of attaching files. You can add emojis, you can have GIFs, there's stickers that you can put in, and we'll have a look at a couple of those shortly. But one of the things that's really useful is if you want to collaborate on a file. So it could be that there's a particular file that you've been typing up, and you want your team members to have a look at that file and maybe make some changes to it. Now, if you are going to add a file for people to look at and collaborate on, it does look on your computer for that file. So it will look either on your desktop, on your network drives, in my documents. If you're on a document management system, it won't look in there. So if you are on a document management, what you might want to do is download a copy first, put a copy onto the desktop, into my documents, and then you could bring it into Teams from there. So I want my team members to have a look at this document that I've been typing up and make some amendments to it. So here I have the option to attach a file. So it comes up with this little screen just saying it's just getting ready to attach. It's looking at your drives that you've got available. And I'm going to upload from my computer. I'm going to go onto the desktop and I'm going to select this training outlines document here. So it attaches a copy of that file now into that conversation for me. Let me just try that one more time. Okay, so there's a copy of the file that I'm going to bring in and I want people to have a look at. Just above it, I can put in my conversation. So I could maybe mention Danielle and also Iris, just so that they both get a notification. Could you please read and revise? Okay, and then I could send that. So Danielle and Iris, when they receive a notification, now have a few choices of how they can work with Training Outlines. Training Outlines, a document that I've attached, has got three little dots by the side of it. And when I click on here, I could just download a copy, open it up, look at it in Word if I wanted to. I've got the choice to open it in my browser as well. But if we want to collaborate as a team and make changes to this document online, when I click on the three dots, I have Edit in Teams. Now, what that will do is it will open up the contents of this document for me, and I can start making some changes to it. So I might say, oh, actually, I want this to be maybe bigger, and I want it to be in bold. As I'm making changes, some of my other colleagues who are part of that team can also start to make some changes. So Danielle could come on and she could start adding some extra text in, or maybe changing the formatting of this document for me as well. So could Iris. So we can all collaborate and make our changes at the same time. And the changes are going to be viewed for everybody to see in Microsoft Teams, so we can keep looking at this document and we can keep amending it amongst us as a team until we are happy with the overall content and outline of the document. Now, if I was to close this down now And at any point, so Danielle has told me she's made some changes to the document. So at any point, if I wanted to go in and see the changes, or if Iris had made the changes, if we all wanted to see each other's changes, again, I can just click on here. I can edit in Teams. It opens it up, and I just start to see not only my changes, but also changes that my other colleagues have made as well. And it says here, changes were made by Danielle while you was away. So I know that my colleagues have been making changes here. Here we've got a little comment box, and I can see any comments as well that Danielle have added into this document. So it's a really good way to work collaboratively if there are documents that you want to change as a team, and you specifically just want all of you to just be able to go in and make those amendments. Now, when we have all amended it and we're happy with it, what I could do is I could then download a copy of that now, and if I was to download it, it will open it up in Word with all the changes that we've made. And if I was working on a document management system, I could then save that now as the new version of the existing document that's in the document management system. Or if I'm on a network drive, I could download the one that we've all changed, and I could then save that into my network drive, and that would now become my new updated version. So really good way to collaborate with documents over Teams by attaching a file, and you all edit and collaborate within Teams itself to make those amendments. So the other thing that we can also do when we're working with our conversations is we can add emojis, and I was saying before, you can add GIFs and you can add stickers. It really depends whether you need to do this, but you know, maybe I want to just say to my team, well done last week on your training. So I could just do well done, put a little emoji in, click on here, and I put a smiley face. I could also, Danielle has said here she's made some changes. If I hover over her comment, I get some little buttons coming up here, so I could like the fact that she's made some changes. Thanks for that, Danielle. The other thing, as you can see here as well, is we have this little button where we can praise people. So I could click on here, and I could send praise to one of my team members or all of my team members. So I could say, oh, you're awesome. So I could click on there, I could put in a team member, I could do it all of them or one of them, add a personal note if I needed to. But if I preview that now, that's what I'm going to get, a nice little awesome, send that over. And that gets sent to Danielle as well. So there's all little things that you can do when you're working in the conversation mode, not just to have conversations, but as I say, to like things, to send praise to people, to add emojis as well that you're sending. Now, you also have down the bottom a Meet Now button as well. So when you're having a conversation, it may be that you're chatting online, but you get to the point where you want to have a conversation, whether that's video where you're going to be looking at each other or just verbal as well. So whilst you're having a conversation online, you could then click on Meet Now, and it will take you into a screen where you'll start to see a video of yourself. You could add a subject if you wanted to, and at this point you could turn the video off, but I'm going to keep mine on for the moment. I'm going to click on Meet Now, and it takes me into a video screen, and over here now I could click on either all my team members or just some of them and ask to join, and they will then get a notification to join me in a meeting. But when you're having an online video call, especially now we're all working from home, there may be things in the background that you don't really want the other people to see. So when you are doing an online meeting and you're going to be presenting yourself via video, you have a little toolbar that runs across the bottom, and there a button that has three little dots in it. It says more actions. And when you click on here, one of the things you can do is blur my background. And if I click on there now, nobody can see the background. Now, it might be you've got the children running around in the background, you've done some washing, you've got the washing hanging out, and you just do not want people to see that. So really good feature that you can blur that background out. If you're anything like me, I actually prefer not to show my face. So the other thing you can also do as well on that little toolbar that runs across the bottom is you can turn camera off, which I'm going to do. But you can still hear my voice. You can mute yourself. So maybe if there's going to be quite a few of you having an online meeting, you might want to mute until you're ready to speak. One of the other buttons down the bottom, a really good button when you're having an online meeting, is you can share your screen. So it may be that you're working in a program and you're really having some problems and you want to show your colleague what you're working on and where you're having these problems. So you do have the option to share your screen. When you click on there, it will come up with all the screens that you've currently got open, and you can click on the one that you want to share with them. So the sharing is really, really a real useful tool when you're having these online meetings. The other thing as well, when you click on the three dots, is you can turn on live captions. Now, when you click on here, as I start to speak now, will start to come up with some subtitles. And that again can be really useful as a screen reader, or if you're struggling to hear what people are saying as well. I'm going to turn those off for the moment. And the other thing that you can also do in here as well is you can start recording your online meetings. So if you want to keep a recording of it so that you can play it back, you can record your meetings from here as well. So the online meetings, whether you do it as part of the conversation or whether you schedule an online meeting, they're always set up the same. You have the same set of buttons down the bottom, which are really useful. And when you're ready, you can hang up just by using the little telephone symbol here, which I shall do. Okay. I'm just going to go back to Teams there. Okay, so that's the majority of really the main features that us as users would like to do when we're working with Teams. So we can come into Teams, we can create our team, click on the dots, we can set up channels, decide who's going to have access to that channels. And the main section really is to start to have your online conversations, add your files so that you can collaborate if need be. And also from here, you can start your online meetings as well, should you need to. Now, there are other parts of Teams that you can go into. So Teams is the main section that most of us tend to work in, but it might be that you want to have a private conversation. So over on the left hand side in your navigation panel, you have a chat button, and chat lets you pick an individual contact that you want to have a conversation with. So when you click on chat, you have it will come up with any recent chats that you have been, recent conversations that you've been having. So if there was a person that appeared in your list, you could click on that person and just carry the conversation on with them that you'd recently had. If you wanted to create a new chat, when you click on chat, you have a little button at the top here that has a little pencil coming out of it, and you click on new chat, and over here, it will ask you, who do you want to have a chat with? Enter a name, enter an email address. Who is the group that you want to have a chat with? So again, I could just start to type in a person that I want to just have a one-to-one chat with. I'm going to choose Danielle. It comes up with any other conversations that we have previously had. And now I could click in here and we could start to have just a private chat. So I could just say, what time is your training session tomorrow? The chats are exactly the same as the chats that you have in Teams. So we have exactly the same functionality, whereas I can click on here and I can start to build a much larger message that I can format if I wanted to. I can attach files that me and Danielle can collaborate on. I've got my emojis. So it's very, very similar to the Teams chat, but this is more on a one-to-one basis. If I wanted to turn our conversation into a video call or into an audio call, then I have these buttons here. So this would turn it into a video call. This is just a straightforward audio call. We can just chat, talk over Teams. And this button, again, is going to allow me to share my screen. So maybe I want to show Danielle something that I've been working on so I could share it with her. It could be that I want somebody else to join this chat at this point as well. And this little button here, the two little heads, would allow me to add extra users to come and join into this conversation if I wanted to. I can also, over on the left-hand side in my pane, click on calls. And I could just have an audio call with somebody from here. Now, when you go into calls, it will come up with some suggestions. Maybe these are people that I have already chatted to and had calls to over Teams. If I wanted to create a new call and I couldn't see the person here that I wanted to have a call with, I can click on make a call. And again, I could just start to type in the person I want to have a call with, and I could start to then, if I select Iris, I could start to either have an audio call with her or a video call with her. And again, once I was in that call, I would have the two heads button appearing so that I could at that point make it into a group call at that stage. Files would show me a list of any files that I have been collaborating on, that I've been either attaching myself into conversations or someone else has given me access to. And again, from here, I could modify them if I wanted to and not do it just within the actual conversation itself. We also have calendar. So calendar is where we can go to schedule a meeting. So you can change a particular week in your calendar, and I can say a particular date and time I want to organise a meeting. When I go into calendar, I can say I want the meeting now. So I could start a private meeting now if I wanted to. But what a lot of people do is they click on the new meeting button and they set up a date and a time for their meeting. So maybe I wanted a meeting around training. I could click in my required attendees and start to type in from my company who I want to attend this meeting, set up a date and a time for it. Fine. I could have it attached to a channel if I wanted to, but if I just wanted a general meeting that would appear in everybody's calendar, I could just leave it as it stands now. I could put a little bit more information about the meeting at that point, but if I now click on send, it will now send out a meeting request to Danielle and to Iris for that date and time, and it will automatically put it into our calendar for us. Now, for those of you that use Outlook with Teams, when you install Teams, it automatically installs into Outlook for you. So just to say that if you were going to set up a calendar entry in Outlook now, what you will find, I'm just going to take you back to my presentation, but what you will find now is when you go into calendar, you will now have the normal way to set an appointment up and to set just a general meeting up within Outlook. But you will now also have this, a new Teams meeting. So if you did the Teams meeting, you'll get exactly the same screen come up that I just had, where you can invite users to attend your meeting, and your meeting will be done over Microsoft Teams and not Outlook. But that button will now automatically appear in Outlook for you. Okay, so that's the end of our overview of Microsoft Teams. Hopefully it's given you an idea of how it works. so that you can start to use it and start to collaborate with your team, with your department, now that we are all working at home. Hopefully it's given you some ideas of how you can use it as well. And I will take some questions if anyone has got any questions on what we've covered in that session, to get you started with Teams in your firm.
Yeah, so we have had some questions come through, Julie. So the first one is, can we add external people into Teams?
It all depends how your IT department has set it up. So in theory you can, it has the ability to do that. We at Ticket, though, have been, the way that we're set up is we can only add external users via a meeting. If I was to actually go into Teams and set a new team up, we are restricted in Ticket to only setting up internal teams. We can't do external. The only external facility we have, as I say, is actually in a meeting itself. So it really all depends on your IT department and how they've set it up for you to what access you have.
Okay, great. Someone else has asked, is it just Word or all of the Office document types that can be edited?
Yes, all the Office document types. Yeah, I just happen to have a Word program, a Word document that I'd created, but it could be, it could be a PowerPoint presentation that you wanted to open up and collaborate on. So yeah, you're not limited there.
And someone else asked following that, is it only the person who called the meeting who can share documents?
No, as long as you are on that. If that's sharing documents, it depends whether you're sharing documents within Teams or sharing your screen. If you're on an online meeting and there's several of you on that meeting, you should all be able to share each other's screens, because you should be able to see that little toolbar that appears down the bottom. Sharing documents, whoever is a member of the team will be able to add a document into a conversation so that the others can view it and can collaborate on that.
Great. And someone asked, can you set up a team on a mobile?
You can, yep, you can. So I've actually got it on my mobile, on my work mobile. So you can download Microsoft Teams, you can link it up to the Teams that you've got on your laptop, and off of there you can do exactly the same that we've just done on my laptop.
There's a couple of questions about chats being deleted and saved. Can they be deleted and can they be saved?
Again, I think that all depends on how your IT department has set it up. I can delete a team. So because I was the member, if I just escape out of here for the moment and take you back into Teams, because I was the person who created my team, my training team here, I can actually go in there and I can delete my team because I was the person who set it up. So I sort of have full access over that. With regards to chats though, I actually can't delete a chat. And again, that's how it's been set up for me at Ticket. So I can't right click, I can't hover over it, I don't have the ability to delete this chat. If I click on three dots here, I can hide the chat, but I actually cannot physically delete that chat myself. So I think a lot of it is down to in the background to what access your IT department has given you and to what the ability is you can do with some of this information that's in here.
A couple of questions about the video. Somebody asked, can you show or explain how you blurred the background again?
Yes, yeah. So if I wanted to do a video call with Danielle, so this is a one-to-one chat. I'm on my chat section here. I've got Danielle. So if I was to click on the video call, it automatically shows my face. If I was to go into more actions, hopefully Danielle might pick up for me. there she is. If I was to go into more, so I can see there's my video here of me. So when you're in a video call, you have this little toolbar that runs across the bottom where you can mute yourself. You could turn the camera off if you don't want people to see you. But there is a button that has 3 dots. It's called More Actions. And when you click on there, you have the option to blur the background so that whatever is going on in the background isn't visible anymore. So it's just those 3 dots, that More Actions, to do that.
And is there any limit on how many people can be on a chat or a call?
Not that I'm aware of, no. What I'm aware of, you can set it up as a group call. You can set it up as an individual call. As far as I know, there isn't a limit.
Great, thank you. There's a lot of people asking whether there's going to be a recording of this session sent out. There will be within the next day or two, so we will get that sent out to you. What else have we got? Quite a lot of questions. Can any member of a team create new channels within a team?
So if it was, say, Danielle wanted to create, so if I'm in Teams here, and Danielle has got access to the training team and she set a new team up, could she create a team? Sorry, a channel, you meant to say there. That is a good question. Danielle, I know you're on this call with us. You have got access to the training team. Could you set a new channel up at that point if you click on the 3 dots by the side of the training team?
Sorry,
yes.
My microphone was on mute. I apologise.
You can.
Slight technical.
Yes,
yes, you can add a channel. I've just done that now for you.
Thank you very much, Danielle. So yes, you can. So whoever is a member of the team, whether you were the person who set it up or not, as long as you're a member, you'll be able to hover over the name of the team, click on the dots, and you'll be able to add a channel from there. But you will be able to, like I did, either have everybody who is part of that team or just pick certain people within that team who can access it.
Another one here. Can you take over someone else's mouse on their screen?
So that so if they're sharing the screen, let me have
so.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see if I can do that. I'm going to go back into my chat with Danielle. So if I do let's do a video call with Danielle. And I'm going to share my screen with her. Actually, do I need to, sorry, Dan, I'm just going to hang up with, sorry Danielle, because I thought I don't need to do the video call. So I'm on the chat with Danielle. I'm going to share my screen with her. Actually, sorry Dan, can you share your screen with me, please?
No problem. Bear with me a second.
Just give me access to one of your screens, that would be lovely.
Bear with me a second. So can you see that?
I can. I'm going to accept your screen. Thank you very much. Okay, so I can see this. So yes, when I'm looking at Danielle's screen, I can click on, so again, I just have an extra little button that pops up here. So I've still got the option to, I can unmute if I wanted to. I've got the option to blur backgrounds, all the sort of general buttons that I had before. But I'm looking at Danielle's screen and I can request control. So I can say, can actually jump on and can I take over the mouse and keyboard control, because maybe I want to show her what to do and I might find it easier to do that by clicking around her screen. So yeah, you can request control.
Great. And I've got a couple more. someone's asked, if you have regular meetings with the same group of people, do you have to enter each name every time, or can you select an address list you would like you would if sending an email to the team from Outlook?
You can, yeah, you can. You can select groups, you can select lists, so you don't have to keep using individual names. Yeah, it does work with your. So basically, it's linked to Active Directory. It's linked to your Outlook address book as well. So you can set groups up. Yeah, you can put the names in.
Great. And another one about Outlook. He says, I use Outlook and I use Teams, but the two do not seem to be integrated. How do I get Teams into my Outlook calendar?
Oh, personally, I wouldn't know that, to be honest. I would have done that via, and that would have been done for me, a bit lazy there, that would have been done for me by my IT department when they loaded Teams up for me. So if we could take your name, or if you could give us your email address, who asked that question, and I can get somebody from IT to just sort of contact you regarding that question.
Yeah, I've got your name, so I can ping you an email after this. Okay, a couple more. Is it possible to view track changes on a shared Word document?
Within Teams?
Within Teams itself?
I think so, yes.
All right, let's have a look. So I was in my team here, and we had a document here, didn't we, that we put in. Okay, so when we edit in Teams, we have got a review. So we have track changes. So I've got them off at the moment. But yes, so as I'm making my amendments, I can have track changes on for everybody. So as we are amending, we would be able to see the changes physically that people are making within this document. So I've just got my track changes on now for everyone. I've just deleted that word. If I was to type in something new, I would be able to see that text as well. So when you are collaborating, if you want people to very easily identify what changes everybody is making, then you can switch that on when you're collaborating and editing online.
Great. And the last two questions are both about channels. The first one says, how are the codes to join a channel given out? Is it automatically done upon setting up the channel?
I know that, so basically each configuration is slightly different, but you can click on the settings tab. So when you click on team on Julie's screen, you can see that there's a little settings tab. And when you click on there, you can generate a code. I'm not sure if our one's been set up to do that. So, I mean, but on the settings cog, you can click on there and you can generate a code. I was just testing it on our ones because every single person's setup is designed slightly different and configured differently.
Yeah, so with ours, when we set a team up internally, it just automatically appears in our teams. If you're going to be using external users, if your IT department has given you access to external users, that probably wouldn't appear, that team automatically. So that's where Danielle was saying that you can go into this cog here, you can generate a code, because one of the things was if you wanted to join a team, you have to be given a code in order to do that. So you could, but that tends to be used more externally, where you'd be able to sort of join the team if it was from an external user.
Okay, great. And the final question, if I have set up a new team and another team member has set up a new channel, is it possible for that new channel to be set up in private away from the original team creator so that they cannot see it?
Well, the team creator is going to have admin rights over that team, so I don't think that I don't think a member can start private channels, and the creator of the team won't be able to see that. So for me, I think that would have to be a new team that's set up, or just take the chat away from the team.
Yes, yeah, and then just go offline. So, you know, the whole point really of Teams is you're using the team section because you want to collaborate. You don't want something to be private. If you want something to be private, then you can do that within chat, and that's where you can have your one-to-one private channels, in effect, where you can still collaborate online, attach your files, you know, do everything that you could do in Teams, but that's really the private area that you would be working in.
Okay, great. That's all the questions that we've got in. Thank you everyone who asked them.
Lovely, thank you very much. Well, thank you all for attending our intro to Microsoft Teams this afternoon. As we said, it was an intro. It's just to give everybody an idea of what Teams is. It's a fantastic program to use at the moment where we are all working from home. We are feeling a little bit isolated. We're not seeing, you know, people that we would see on a daily basis, and this is a really good way to keep that momentum going, having chats, having your conversations, being able to, you know, if there's a file that you're working on and you just want someone to give you a little bit of help with it, this is a brilliant way to be able to do that. So if you have got Teams, please do start using it. If you have got any more questions on Teams, please email us on hello@ticket.com and one of us can get back to you. So if there's any questions that you've got after this session, please feel free to do that. As with any of our other Ticket products, you know, if you're struggling with anything to do with CarPay or Net Documents or even just standard Word, Excel, PowerPoint, please just reach out to us on hello@ticket.com and one of us can get back to you. But thank you very much. Dan, did you want to say anything before we go?
No, thank you very much for everyone attending.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Great,
you.
thanks everyone.
Bye.